So this is an Am I the A-hole post, and it has to do with boundaries and family. And it's perfectly fine to set some boundaries, and these people need to understand boundaries and hearing the word no. Every time someone asks a question, doesn't mean that they're going to get a yes, and they have to figure out how to manage hearing the word no. All right, so here she goes. She says, am I the a-hole for refusing to let my brother and sister-in-law stay at my apartment with their dog? So she says, so I, 25-year-old woman, live in a small one-bedroom apartment in the Lower East Side, New York City. I love my space. It's cozy and just big enough for me and my routine. I also have pretty severe allergies to dander, pollen, and dust. So I keep my home very clean and have to be careful about animals. A few weeks ago, my brother, who's 28, asked if he and my sister in law could crash at my place for a weekend because they were visiting the city for an event. I agreed at first, but then he casually mentioned they'd be bringing their dog, a very energetic pug. I reminded him of my allergies and said sorry, but the dog can't come into my apartment. I offered a few compromises, like helping them find a pet friendly Airbnb nearby or suggesting they leave the dog with a friend or a sitter for the weekend. But he shot all of those ideas down, citing cost. I totally understand that the dog is an extra expense, but you think they'd factor the dog into their decision making more proactively. Yes, when you have dogs, when you have responsibilities, when you have children, you do have to factor them in when you're taking a trip. He got really annoyed and said I was being selfish because they'd already told a friend they wouldn't need them to dog sit, and it cost a lot of money to have them kept somewhere. I stood firm and said, I can host you guys, but not the dog. It's not fair to me, my space, or my health. He got mad and said I was prioritizing my comfort over family and accused me of not liking their dog, which isn't true. I just literally can't breathe around it, and pug hair gets everywhere. I literally need a lint roller after. They ended up booking a hotel instead, but now my brother is barely speaking to me, and my parents think I should have just made it work for one weekend to keep the peace. I feel bad they had to spend money, but it's not like I didn't warn them. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let the dog stay in my apartment? You're not the a-hole. It is unfair that someone thinks that they need to prioritize a dog over your health. I mean, they're the ones that are looking to go out on a vacation. How they factor in their dog is part of the cost of their vacation. And so he's sitting up here talking about costs. Why is that supposed to impact this woman in her routine and getting sick or whatever happens when she has an allergic reaction? Why should she have to have the extra expense of time and energy cleaning up her apartment, which will inevitably have dog hair and dander, like she said, all over the place? Just because you're visiting doesn't mean that this woman needs to be inconvenienced. People in their entitlement baffle me all the time. And, like I always give the caveat that I do know and understand that all of these Emma the a-hole posts may or may not be true. But the entitlement of people surrounding their dogs or their children or just thinking people are supposed to accommodate them, it does happen. And we need to have a conversation about being able to say no, this doesn't work for me, and be okay with saying no and dealing with other people being upset, irritated, angry, or whatever. Because no, you do not have to be uncomfortable to make somebody else comfortable for a weekend, for a day, for an hour. No, you do not need to have an allergic reaction to save your brother and sister-in-law some money. Absolutely not. Potter Squash says, not the a-hole. It's okay to be selfish about one's health. I think everything your brother said is true, just there's no inherent negative to it. You prefer not to be sneezing, teary-eyed, rash, however your allergies manifest, and there's nothing a-hole about that. And the crazy thing is, it's not selfish. It's self-preservation. We women do need to have a lot more, feelings of self-preservation. It's perfectly fine to think of your own health first and foremost. The OP Covert Satisfaction says, thank you. I have had a hard time with asserting boundaries, but have been trying to work on being kinder and fairer to myself. without feeling shame about it. I do like that she is working on this, because if you live in a family where you haven't been able to have an opinion, you haven't been able to say no, you haven't been able to have boundaries, like your parents bulldozed over you, or they led a household that was more like a dictatorship versus where you had agency over your own body. Having boundaries might not come easy. They might have to be practiced and learned. So, she says she's working on it. Bufferington Jeffy says, he accused you of putting your comfort over family. He's insisting on putting his dog over your health. You're offering him free lodging, excuse me, and you're the selfish one. No shame for your boundaries, no shame at all. Raven Raving says, and they are dog owners, so their clothes, suitcases, shoes, etc., probably have dog dander and hair on them, which they will be bringing into your home. And then Dangerous Ant says, it would be a major expense to clean up the dander and hair from their dog, not to mention the agony of having an allergy. This person says, accurate. I have a 90-pound Bergie Blanc Suisse with a lovely white coat. When I take clean clothes out of the dryer, by the time I've carried it to my bedroom, there are a few white hairs on it already. I always find some white fur on me somewhere, even if I lint rolled myself. Don't get me started on the twice a year blow. He doesn't even shed that much. Nowhere near a Samoyed, but the fur fluffs and drifts. I don't know a Samoyed, but apparently the fur floats and drifts. JSR squared says, you would not be the a-hole without the allergies. Not everyone wants dogs in their homes, particularly small spaces. Dog owners should be prepared not to be able to bring them everywhere. You can go ahead and tell your parents that you are not the ones disrupting the peace. Your brother is, by being entitled. God's Girl says, your parents can keep the dog and see how they like it. And then one ad says this, regardless of health issues, bringing a dog on a trip is usually a bad idea. Bringing a dog to someone else's place, especially one so small, ditto. And who was going to walk the dog and take care of the dog while the brother and sister-in-law were at the event or out doing things in New York City? Oh yeah, OP. Yeah, they really do like to volunteer people to do things. And folks got to get away from that. Yeah, you can ask people. You can ask people for their time, energy, and resources, but you have to be prepared to hear the word no. And we have to practice, not extending ourselves out to too far to where we're hurting ourselves. So saying no would be good practice for you and the person hearing it. All right, y'all, join the conversation. Let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. So this content creator named Little Mammoth is talking about the male loneliness epidemic, saying that so much of the male loneliness epidemic boils down to the fact that men just don't like women. They don't find them interesting. They don't enjoy being around them. They want to have a girlfriend in the abstract, but their lives are otherwise entirely homosocial. Like, you listen to some of these guys on here, and their two major complaints are, one, that they can't meet women, and two, that women keep showing up to take part in their hobbies, which they hate. Seems like there might be a solution right in front of you here, guys. He continued with, I never struggled to find partners when I was younger because I cared about and enjoyed things that women also cared about and enjoyed. And if you hate all that stuff and hold it in contempt, then why would any woman want to date you? What would they be getting out of it exactly? And the thing is, when they talk about the fact that they want a woman, many of the things that they want could literally be described as a chef, a house cleaner, a house manager, a secretary, and a bangmate. Like, literally, is not about the woman in general. It's the services that they're expecting that woman provide, not necessarily what a partnership should really look like. It's just someone to cook, clean, be silent, not have an opinion, and then, be there for some, you know what I'm saying. So that's my take on it. He left that part out because he's mostly talking about where you meet women and, finding them interesting, which is cool. That is something to consider. He's talking about the fact that many of these people are homosocial, so wanting to be only around men, but then they are upset that they're not meeting women. And obviously, they're not going to meet many women on the dating apps because many women are leaving the dating apps. Now, let's get into some of these comments. This person named Kinder Gritical says, in my experience, it's just politics. If a girlfriend finds out I'm against abortion or immigration, she just immediately cuts me out of her life. Yeah, that's just where we are right now. And the quicker that these people know and understand that, it's like, cool, you say that. And then you push the people away that you know are not interested. And then that way you can find other conservative people that have the same beliefs as you. But many women do not agree. Even some conservatives, even some Republican women still want to have access. So it's going to be a challenge to find women. But, if that's where you want to be, if those are your beliefs, then you need to stick to them and make sure you say that to a woman really quickly so that, y'all can separate quickly. That's why Finnegan's Take says, smart move on her part. Corrine Carrion says, abortion is not just politics for a woman. And then Kendra Gritical says, yes, it is. Many women get yanked from their mother's wombs every day. He continues with body autonomy, health, and physical safety are protected by the Second Amendment, not baby murder. And so you can see why he is having a hard time finding women because this is what he believes. And that, nobody should be trying to push this man to believe something different. He needs to believe what he believes, whatever. But women need to know this. They need to know this about this person so that they can stay away from him. Miss Messmaker says, ask Florida and Texas about that, huh? Because women are literally dying in many of these red states because they don't have access, because access to abortion is not just about baby murder. Sometimes pregnancies are not going to go to term. And many of these states are making it so that women have to be on the brink of death, before someone actually steps in and provides the care that they need. Claudia says, your response to this comment proves that you'd rather stick with your beliefs, which endanger women, than rethink your position. And he's not going to rethink his position. He is steadfast in it. Many of these people are steadfast in it. And hopefully they are loud about it so that women can see that and stay away. She says, you can't even muster. I never thought about it that way. Instead, you just double down, proving that you don't care about women's lives. This man named Lucas Ramos says, they're entitled, anti-choice, anti-feminism, anti-immigration, anti-queer people, anti-woke, and yearn to go back to a time when women and people of color were their slaves and queer people were closeted. They hate that they don't have the upper hand anymore and actually have to work hard to be decent human beings. And they blame everyone else for the social pressures they create for themselves. They treat everyone else like and expect roses at the end. LOL. Progressive men have no issue finding women because it really is not that hard. In fact, the bar for them is so low that they only need to be half decent to be a good guy. That last part is so true. The bar is in hell. It's just like, oh, you respect my rights? Throw in washing your butt and everything, and then it's like, man, that is a decent dude. The bar is literally in hell. And then Irene, she does the hand clap emoji and gives 100s and says, and it's crazy the number of conservative Christian men that come after vocal, liberal, atheist feminists. They chase women that do not submit. They want control and hate not being included in other people's fun. They have so many pick-me conservative women to choose from, and they still go after liberal women. And I've talked about this in my post before, is because it is like wearing them down. That is the fun part. That is part of the game in just trying to get somebody to submit. Like it is a wrestling match, trying to get them to tap out. And then once you make them give in, they're not the same. The woman is not the same. You have broken her down, but it's literally a game. And like Sister Harpy says, domination is the point for them. It's no fun unless there's a fight. That's the reason why they don't just go for the pick me women. That's the reason why they go for the ones that they have to put in a submission hold to make them submit. These people don't agree with this man's post. Nene says, saying a lot of rubbish. Prince says, God finna do wicked work to you, just saying. Observation says, every woman I courted turned me into a living security source, a wallet, a zip code, rather than a person. Almost every divorce is for economic reasons and initiated by wifey. 85% of all women studied demand a man that makes good money. F mercenaries, not effing interested. And that's good. Just don't be interested. Don't approach. Just leave them be. And then we got this other dude at the bottom that simply, he's just not a fan. You can tell by the picture he used. All right, y'all. Let me know what you think about this. I thought it was interesting, and it was interesting that a couple of the men had takes like this. The men that disagree, those are typical people. So we expect that. So join the conversation. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. This person posted in the unpopular opinion subreddit, and I believe that this is a great conversation to have because I agree with this. I don't think that this is that unpopular of an opinion. This person says, I don't think being angry should always be seen as losing control. Sometimes it's absolutely the appropriate response, saying this as a woman. She says, I hate that anger is demonized, and I truly believe it's a valid response to some situations. When I'm angry, I'm not out of control. I'm laser focused. I agree. Even talking passionately is treated as a faux pas, which, as a passionate speaker, is often used against me for reasons that I find baffling. Speaking passionately can sometimes be used as invalidating my point of view, which is frustrating as F. Staying calm doesn't make the facts of the matter any different. I say this as a woman. I don't know if this experience is universal for women, but I have found that getting angry when you're a woman is sometimes treated as taboo, as crying is for men. Because women are literally just supposed to be demure and, just be quiet and not be quick to anger. And we're supposed to be the calming effect to the male anger. But this is absolutely appropriate. I know that as a content creator and a feminist, I get so many stories from women all the time. And if I didn't get angry the way that I am, I wouldn't have been mobilized to do the work that I do. And some people might not see content creation as work, but I do feel like I have a mission because I am angered by the violence and femicide and women's rights being stripped and opportunities being taken away and the conditions and oppression that women live on a global scale. And I'm able to see that. And if you like, if I were to be that toxic I think that being extra positive, even in the face of things that are infuriating, is silly. Like try to be, oh my gosh, just look at the other side, and everything's going to come out okay. And I think that that's such BS. Sometimes situations require anger to move. You don't have to stay in a stage of anger. And being angry about something doesn't mean that you're flipping things over and punching holes in the walls or anything. But it should move you to do something. It should move you to action. You can't dwell in it because it would eat you alive, but it can push you to action. So I do believe that we have a range of emotions for a reason. And just simply trying to stay positive and happy and smiling would be silly. Like looking at some of the things that are going on globally, and we can't be angry about it. We can't be sad about it. We can't be despondent or whatever. Like literally let humans feel the things that humans feel. That's the cool thing about being a woman because we're allowed to emote. Now, the men, they should be allowed to emote, but they really only get anger, rage, passion, and confidence. They don't get the full range of emotions, but I do believe that they should, and we all should. We shouldn't be boxed into some pigeonholed stereotypes simply because they can't stand to see a woman upset or angry or cussing or whatever. That, like this person said, being angry should or could create laser focus for some of us. This person says, pretty valid emotion in the right context for sure. So this person, Attack Torb Main, says, anger can be totally appropriate, but getting angry to the appropriate degree, at the appropriate time, and at the appropriate target, that's hard. And even harder is when you're experiencing the emotion to express anger in a way that is productive, e.g., get you what you want without collateral damage. Like that seems like a lot. Like how do you measure appropriate? Like I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that because that's so subjective anyway, saying the appropriate. Okay. All right, cool. And just like that, this next person says, appropriate is all subjective anyway. And men can get explosively angry over small things and are granted forgiveness easily. And then Get Bent Dweeb says, forgiveness from whom? And then Mud Remarkable answers, literally everyone. Their stories in Steve Jobs' biography about him screaming, crying, and storming out in meetings that didn't impact his professional success at all, because they're allowed to be angry, because that is written into their script and their stereotypes. It's women that are boxed in, and we're not supposed to express anger. This person says, probably because he was rich. And then Mud Remarkable says, my point is that his outburst did not prevent him from becoming rich. And I don't think that it impacts men the same way it impacts women. Think Preference says that would be because he was the boss, not because he was a man. Lots of bosses are dicks. If you're an employee, you get fired. Didn't a bunch of Ellen DeGeneres' employees speak out about her being a bully on set? But the thing is, Ellen DeGeneres got raked over the coals for being mean. She did. She got raked over the coals. So this person thinks that they were making a point, but even still, the point stands because a woman is not allowed to have the same emotions as a man. Being a bully is being a bully, but being a bully in a male body is more acceptable than being a bully in a female body. And I am not saying that being a bully is okay at all. That is not what I'm saying. Don't even put that there. But I'm just saying there are certain things that are more acceptable when you're a male versus a female. All right, y'all. I don't need to belabor the point, but my point is, and I agree with this woman, I don't think it's that unpopular, that well-placed anger is cool because that is the vehicle that we could jump into to help get us to the other side and get some things going. Let me know what you think about this one. Join the conversation. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Trigger warning. This next story includes DV that resulted in the pregnant woman dying. So I'm just putting that out there. If it's too much, please just swipe away. Okay, so this woman, and I think that this is in Nigeria. It comes out in the comments. This woman, Makai, says, my lactation just died because of her bastard husband. Her due date was January 28th. So that means that she was heavily pregnant. She said the bastard beat her till she was sick. He left her at home and she had to crawl out the house naked to beg for help this morning. They rushed her to the hospital, but she died at the gate. And then she shows a video of her loctician doing her hair. And I'm just showing this picture just to humanize this woman, the woman in red, because all of the numbers we see and hear about, these are whole human beings that are being taken out. And a lot of the times they are being taken out by the people in their own household. So folks want to push women to get married. They talk about men are there to protect and provide, when a lot of the times the pregnant woman is taken out simply by the person that fathered the baby. This top person says, my God, how would you even hit a pregnant woman? How? And Makai says, not just that. Apparently, he used to lock her in the house without food or money and get pissed when she go out to work and find food, and then he'd beat her. And Chio says, what? And then Makai says, my reaction as well. And so that's the thing. It's like This is how feminists are born. Oppression and violence is what makes other women see that and know that they can't go back to being oppressed like this. That is dangerous, that our safety concerns need to be taken into account. And this is one of the reasons why we know and understand, the feminists of the world know and understand, women need to have an escape valve. Women need to be financially secure and independent to be able to run away and get someplace safe when threats like this happen. The butterfly is asking, is he in jail now? And she simply says, no. And then Nima says, God, please, I hope he's rotting in jail. And then Makai says, he's walking around free as a damn bird, and it infuriates me. And then Simplicity says, what? At the end, they may not prosecute the husband. She stayed because of what society will say. Now she's no more. I hope one day people find the courage to leave a toxic union early. And then Makai says, nope. She stayed because he was financially abusing her as well. Whenever she'd make people's hair, I guess do people's hair, he'd take the money from her. She had to start lying about how much she was paid and was hiding some of the money away so she could start her own shop and move. And then Simplicity says, still the same, so sad she's no more. It still comes back to seemingly putting some of the onus on the woman instead of the violent offender being the one that is taken into account, because it's just easier to blame the person that's dead. I don't know. It This just hurts. This is so just so sad and deplorable what some women go through. And then to have somebody says, well, she stayed in the toxic union because of what people might say. She doesn't know why this person stayed, but this person, Simplicity, just said she stayed because of what society will say. We don't know that. Booked says, these things make me boil. I hope he's been arrested. Knowing the Nigerian police's attitudes to femicide, I doubt it. God, when will women ever be free? And then Makai said they changed the narrative and have been saying she died because of the pregnancy, but she allegedly had only 3 liters of blood in her body. And then Book says, just imagine this. Oh God. And that's where we are. Will women ever be free? Like Book asked, will women ever be free? When will women get justice when these types of things happen? It can be infuriating, but what happens next? How many women, how many mothers have to die? This woman was about to give birth in a couple of weeks. This is crazy and shouldn't still be happening. All right, y'all. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.